Assalamu alaikum. I am Areefa Summer along with my group members Zainab and Muzna, and we are the Quizzards. And today we are excited to present our interactive multi-subject quiz game program. So let's begin. Our presentation includes four major parts, including the introduction, program design and development, testing and challenges, followed by conclusion and future work. So let's begin with our introduction. Basically, the objective of the project is to achieve a multi-subject quiz game program. The main features of the program includes multiple choice questions, lifelines, score tracking, and user-friendly interfaces. Our program currently includes four subjects, which are English, mathematics, geography, and general knowledge. Moving forward, this program is made by using C programming language and Dev C++ as IDE. So let's move towards the program design and development. For understanding the construction of the program, let's have a look at the code. Now Zainab will explain the code.
Hi everyone, I'll be explaining. My part of our multiple choice quiz program project. Okay, so let's begin with the first thing, that is the header files. These are the libraries that give access to the built-in functions of our program, of the functions that a program needs. So the first one is stdio.h, that is the standard input-output library. It has the functions like printf, scanf. So each of these libraries allows us to use the built-in functions. Like the second one, we have string.h. This allows us to use the string functions like string compare, string copy. Then we have stdlib, which is for memory management and exit. Windows.h for Windows functions like setting console, color, or code page. Time is for time-based operations. ctype is for character checking. And finally, game.h is for custom header files where our structures and function declarations are defined. Okay, so moving on, we have the constant values here. So these are basically the constant. We have two constants in our program. The maximum number of questions, that is 10, and the maximum hints that the user can use, that are 3. So these are the two constants that we have kept constant throughout the program. So these are the constant values. Next, we have color definitions. These are the ANSI escape codes, which are basically some special codes which are used to add color to the text in the console. The colors are red, green, yellow, blue, as written here. For example, we used red for errors in our program. We used green for success. We used yellow for highlighting options. Then we have function declarations. Okay, so these are the function prototypes. They tell the compiler that these functions exist somewhere in our program. So here we declared all the functions that will be used later in our program. For example, each function performs a specific task, like loading questions, taking a test, displaying the leaderboard, displaying the menu, comparing scores, and so. Now let's start with the main function. So our program basically starts from the main function. This is where the menu is displayed and the user input is handled. Okay, moving on, we have console settings. This part set our console to use the UTF-8 encoding so that all the colors and special symbols display properly on Windows systems. Next is our menu loop. Okay, so first we made a choice variable which stores what the user enters basically. And here we have a while loop, which is basically an infinite loop. So it will, this loop will continuously show the main menu after each operation until the user chooses to exit. The user presses the number for the exit, which is 3, I suppose. And the variable choice stores the option the user enters. Moving on, we have the input validation. Here, if the user types something that's not a number, for example. So here we clear that the input, the input buffer basically, and our program shows an error message in the color red as it is written there. And the message will be invalid input, try again. So this prevents the program from, behaving unexpectedly. So this basically checks whether the user entered a valid number or not, or if he or she has put a invalid number, it will print an error message. Then we move to the menu options, which are in a switch statement. So here, the switch statement checks what option the user selected. If the user, for example, presses 1, the quiz starts. If he or she presses 2, the leadership board is displayed. If they press 3, a thank you message appears and the program exits. And for any other message, in the default, for any other message, an invalid choice message will be shown in the color red. Then we have the display menu function basically. Here we have called the display menu function that we declared earlier in our program. We call that function here. First of all, there's clear screen, which basically cleans the previous screen to give a cleaner look to our program. Then it uses cyan and yellow colors to highlight sections and options. Then there are the 3 options. Option 1, take test. Option 2, view leadership. Option 3, exit. And that's about it from my side. Muzna will continue now.
Now, let's have a look at the next function, which is the take test function. So at the beginning of this function, we have done all the necessary declarations of the variable. For example, we have taken choice as integer, play again as a character variable, and so on. Moving forward to the body of the function, we have started this function with a do-while loop. The reason of using the do-while loop is that the body of the function will execute at least once and will execute again if the user wants to play the game again. At the end of the function, we can see that a while condition has been written in which the play again character is leading the execution, which means that if the user agrees to play again and presses Y, then the program will continue. Otherwise, it will display the message, "Thank you for playing. Goodbye." Moving forward, we have the clear screen function. This function is being called over here. Let's have a look at this function first. So the clear screen function has been declared over here. This function has two major parts. One's for the CLS function, which is used to clear the console in Windows, whereas the system clear function is used to clear in Linux or Mac operating system. So this is clear screen, and another utility helper over here in our program is the line function. This line function creates a line of cyan color wherever needed. Basically, clear screen and line functions are utility helpers of our program. So let's continue our take test function. If we move forward, we have displayed the proper title, a welcome message to our user, and then we ask for the user to enter her name and stored it into the variable. Moving forward, we have given the choice to the user to enter the subject of your choice. Okay, so the choice will be saved, and according to the choice, the text file of the called subject, the desired subject will be called. Here, one important thing is we should look at the format of the text files. Here, let me show you one text file. So, this is our text file for English quiz. It has all the questions, its options, its answers, along with its hint. This is our question. Then, four choice A, B, C, D are present. Then the correct answer is given and hint is at the end. This format is same in all the text files in all 10 questions, which is a very important thing. So if we continue again, then we have called the load questions function. This load question functions will load the questions of the called text file. Okay. So if we have a look at the load questions function, this load questions function will first open the file which is called, then it will follow the sequence, which means then it will first access the question, display the question along with its options, and then it will look for the correct option by comparing it with the text file. Similarly, if the user asked for the hint, it will show the hint. The separator part basically is to ignore this, to skip the lines which are in the text file to have to differentiate between two questions. This part is basically to skip that line and move forward. At the end, the return I function will give the total number of the loaded questions which are successfully loaded. This is basically what the load question function is doing. And the function is called over here. And the total value which will be assigned will be the loaded questions which are successfully loaded. Those questions will be stored in the total. Okay, if the total value is equals to 0, then it will obviously show a error message that no question or found or file is missing. Continuing, the start time will note the starting time and the end time will note the ending time. In between, there is a play quiz function which will be defined by Muzna later on. Over here, all the values and all the scores, etc., which are recorded by the computer after the attempt of the quiz will be assigning to the variables. And here we have another function called save score. This save score function, let's have a look at its function as well. So this function is declared, the save score function is declared over here. What this save score function is doing, it is taking all the score which is recorded by the computer and saving it into the leadership board so that all the score which is recorded by the computer can be seen on the leadership board afterwards. This is what the save score function is doing. So yes, after saving all the scores onto the on the leadership board, then the function is asking the user if she wants to play the game again. If the user enters yes, it means why, then the loop will run again. Otherwise, the thank you message will be displayed. So now the play quiz part will be explained by Muzna.
So, before starting with the play quiz, let's first discuss the header files. Okay, so the structure of our program is as follows. There are two main files and some txt and .dat files, but right now we are focusing on the main stuff. So game.h and main.c. The game.h file is a .h extension file which contains the declarations of the two structures used in the program. It is included in the main.c file with the statement written as hash include double quotation game.h. Let's move on to the game.h file. The header file's benefits are as follows. It provides modularity, maintainability, and clean interface. Generally, .h files help with use of a collection of data when there are multiple .c files. But right now, we only have a one .c file and we would enhance it to multiple in the future. So the two structures here are the question and leaderboard entry. So the syntax used here is type define struct bracket and for variables declared in the question structure case. And in leaderboard case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 variables. The first variable also written as char question 285 is a character type array which stores the question text. The next is char options 4 and 128, which is a two-dimensional array for 4 options and multiple questions. So then we have char correct answer, which contains the correct answer A, B, C, or D. Char hint 200 is another string. Okay, so structure is basically an umbrella which stores multiple members and can be used in other C files. Here, type define struct enables that from where it is used or modified, direct without the writing of struct questions, we can use it in this way. Okay, so type define struct leaderboard entry is a compact record for each player's quiz performance, including who played, the name, what subject they played, how well they score in the total questions, how fast they completed it, and when they played it. All of this is stored in a .dat file, which is a binary file, and yeah, that's it. Now moving on to the .c file where the play quiz function exists. The main purpose is the core game logic that presents questions and calculates scores. The key features include question display loop, where we iterate through all the loaded questions from the txt files, show question number progress, like question 3 of 10, display options labeled as A, B, C, or D. Then we have a hint system which prompts the user of whether a hint is required or not. So that's optional. Maximum 3 hints per quiz are allowed, also defined initially and explained by Zainab. Hash define max hints equals to 3. It tracks hints used for final statistics. Then we have answer validation, where it uses two upper function for case insensitive comparison. We could have also used single quote capital A or single quote small a, but the two upper function is basically a compact version and stores all the manual work, hence optimized. It compares user input with correct answer field. It increments score for correct answers. Okay, then lastly we have score calculation. Each correct answer is equals to 1 point. That is going to be stored and displayed later on. We also return total score to the caller. Let's see what the return type of this function is. Can you please move up? Yes. The int quiz. I want to see the definition uploaded. Int quiz. Yeah, that's it. Okay, can you move down? Okay. Then moving on to the view leaderboard function. The purpose of this function is to display the leaderboard. It is a separate screen that we're going to be showing to you later on. It displays all past quiz results in ranked order. Okay, so the implementation steps are file reading. It opens the leaderboard.dat file in the binary read mode. We also have used fread function, which is a file read function, to load all entries into the array, which means the struct type array that we have defined by ourselves in the .h file. Then this also handles missing file gracefully, which is a very big plus point for our program. We have also incorporated a sorting algorithm, the Q-sort, with custom compare scores function. What this does is basically sorts using score and ranks the person who has topped in the among the players. Then we have percentage score, the higher the better. Display formatting, the professional table layout with headers. This is how we have shown the is equals to line is simply the user interface. Then we have the leaderboard \n, leaderboard in one line. Then the next line also contains the is equals to interface. And then we take then we display the rank, name, subject, score, time, date, respectively, in a tabular form. It has also been color coded using ANSI escape sequences. What are ANSI escape sequences? We have studied that, for example, like \n, \t. They are instructions included in the string and they perform some steps, but they're not exactly the string which has to be displayed or in otherwise used, modified. Then ANSI is the escape sequence which includes all the colors that we have used to display on our console and like to display the text on the console. Then we have formatted the date using str ftime. That's it. Then we have the compare scores logic. And moving on, I'm going to pass it to Zainab. Zainab, let's explain.
Okay. So now I'll explain the function compare scores. So this function is used when we display the leaderboard. So it basically helps the program decide which players should appear on the top. So it's a custom comparison function used by the Q-sort to arrange leadership entries. So it sorts players in the descending order of score percentage, and if the scores are equal, it sorts by the fastest time. We'll see that. We'll see that now. So let's move on to the line by line explanation. First of all, this function is used by the Q-sort. It basically compares two items, here A and B, and tells which one should come first in the sorted list. Also, the point to be noted here is that the constant void static type here means the function can compare any kind of data, not just integers or strings. It's basically flexible, you can say. Moving on to lines 2 and 3. So A and B are the void pointers, meaning they don't have a data type yet. Now we convert, meaning we typecast them into pointers of the type leaderboard entries so that we can access their fields, like score, total questions, time taken, etc. Moving on, the next two lines are where we calculate the percentage score of both the players. For example, if someone got 8 out of 10, their percentage will be 0.8 or 80%. And so we calculate the percentage score for both the players by dividing their correct answers by the total number of questions. And float is used to make sure we get a decimal result, not integer division. Then the next part is where we compare their scores, where we have put the if conditions. If, for example, if B's percentage is higher, it returns 1, which means A should come after B. And if A's percentage is higher, it means -1. It returns -1, which basically means A should come before B. So it basically ensures higher scores appear first in the leaderboard. And the last line is now a tiebreaker rule kind of thing. It is used, for example, if there's a condition, if two players have the same score percentage, for example. So the program compares now how much time each player took to complete the quiz. And whichever player took less time will be placed higher on the leadership board. So yeah, that's about it. This brings us to the end of our code. Now, Areefa will explain. Areefa, now I think we should. Okay, so now Areefa will show us the code. Areefa, can you please run the code?
Yes. Now let's see the working condition of the code which we have developed by doing this coding. So this is the first page, you can say, which gives us three options: take test, view leadership board, or exit. So let's enter one and take test. Now the program is asking to enter the name. So let's enter my name. Now 4 options to choose the subject has been given. The user can choose according to their choice. So let's take test of general knowledge. Okay, the first question has been displayed. What is the largest organ in the human body? After the question, the program is asking whether I need a hint or not. Let me clear that only 3 hints will be given per quiz. Afterwards, the program will not ask for a hint if you already used 3 of your hints. So let's test it. Let me take my first hint and enter my answer. So I suppose it's D. Pressing enter will move towards the next question. I'm using my another hint over here. And let's select option B. Moving forward. Now I'm taking my third hint. So if my hints had been completed, and from next question onwards, you will see that no hint option will be given to me. So let's enter the answer. So this is what I was talking about. 3 of our hints are completed, and now the program is not asking for any further hints. Now you have to do your quiz by your own. So let's continue the quiz and okay. Total 10 questions. Okay, I am on my last one. The quiz has been completed. So, wow, I got 10 out of 10 and I used all of 3 of my hints. So, the program tells that my score has been saved and then asking me whether I want to play again or not. So, let me show you where the score is basically saved and what will happen if I write yes, playing again. So, if so let me show you. I write yes and agreed to play again. It again takes me to the screen and asks me to enter my name. So let me show you the leadership option, leadership board then. Uh, I have already shown you the quiz game. So yeah, we have seen the take test option. Now let's go towards the leadership board. If I enter 2, this is our leadership board. Here, all the users which attempt our quiz, their time, their date, their score, their subject, their name, each and everything is displayed on the leadership board along with the winning on the top. Like, they all are sorted. So, this is what the leadership board is showing to us. The last option of our program is to exit the program. The only way to exit the program is to write 3. If I enter 3, it shows me the goodbye message and thank you for using MCQ program. So this is what is all about the working of our program, and this is how our code works. So let's move towards our presentation. We have explained everything about the code implementation, highlights, design, structure, and here are some code snippets from as well from our program execution. We have seen the MCQ quiz program, the FRED screen, the MCQ screen, and the leadership board. These all things I have shown to you. Moving forward, this is the score. When you completed your quiz, this is the interface. We have seen this as well. So let's move towards the third part of our presentation, which is that testing and challenges which we face during the execution, making, implementation of this program. I will like to call Zainab to continue further about the difficulties.
Okay, so now let's talk about the some of the challenges that we faced while working on this code. Areefa, can you change the slide, please? Yes, thank you. So first, let's talk about the technical challenges that we faced. So during the development of our quiz program, some of the technical challenges were integrating various features like loading questions, real-time scoring, and leadership board updates was also quite complex. So we had to debug frequently to make sure everything worked smoothly. The program didn't crash on invalid inputs. In addition, we also had to work on time management and coordination of our team members, which was also a very challenging task since we were working as a team And sometimes our progress slowed down due to scheduling conflicts and communication gaps. However, still these challenges helped us learn the importance of teamwork, planning, and debugging, and they made our final project much stronger and successful. Let's now talk about the future work that we can include in our project. Moving on to Muzna.
Okay, so for any project, there are updates that can be endless, everlasting. So we have some suggestions for how we can improve our project, and starting from adding more subjects and questions. For like especially our game, which is a very small scale and fun and educational game. We need to connect with the audience, for which we are providing an interface for them to add questions. But obviously, there's going to be validation, which is going to filter out the what trash questions random users can add. And especially because the game is personal based. So, for example, I distributed to a bunch of classmates, and that's what the scope is. So, they can enter their own question for their own learning, just like the apps like Quizzes, etc. We can also do random file access, which I haven't included here, but it's still a very solid thing that we can add. Multilingual display is another plus thing that we can add, like displaying the menu screen in Urdu language, which can also bring issues like alignment and stuff, but we also gotta deal with them. Then we can add bonus rounds or like modes, like it's written timed mode. We could add rounds like um speed duel, where you have 10 seconds and you have to submit the answer, and else you have nothing. You're basically 0 points for a question. Or we could add another round like um whatever. We can add multiple rounds. Immediate sound feedback, especially in quiz games, it is very important to have immediate feedback and long-term feedback. So the immediate feedback can include sound feedback, or like immediately telling it, "Acha, this is your score," and good job, you're on lightning speed, or something like that. And which can also include sound effects, like on a correct sound you have a ding sound, and on a wrong sound you get like a wrong buzzer in a game show kind of vibe. And we can also, for a long term thing, we can add badges, like the speed quizzer or something like that. This is for having dynamic and immersive user experience. Enhanced user interface, obviously we could improve the interface. The improved color themes, clear typography, intuitive menus, buttons, emojis, anything of that sort. We could also um, take it to a GUI level and make it graphical based, and we could even make it 3D, but that's like a for a later thing. And yeah, basically that, I guess. Move on. Can you move on? Okay, so concluding, I would like to say that this was an amazing experience, and we demonstrated some practical C programming concepts, successfully implemented file management, IO structures, modular design, created functional educational tool with persistent data storage. We have header files to organize complex program. Structures enable sophisticated data modeling. File handling preserves data across sessions. And sorting algorithm enabled ranked displays. And my final thought is this project showcased how fundamental C concepts combine to create a complete user friendly application with real world utility. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us on this quiz adventure, and we, the Quizzards, are signing off. Thank you so much.